Anyone can remind us again what is Flink? Like, what do they remember about Flink?
Flink is a framework that supports stream and batch processing, and it has three components, which is data source, transformation, and data sync.
Okay, so you have your data source, transformation, and data sync. Can anybody help? Us? Us? By the way, guys, about the exam. So the final decision is we're going to have two dates. So the first will be mid-June, and the second date will be end of. But from next week, we're going to start with AI.
Can you please repeat that, sir?
From next week, with AI on Wednesday, and for the exam, we're going to have two dates. So we're going to have, but I'll confirm that, but we're going to have two groups. One mid of June, one end of June, because the condition they gave us, you need to write the exam before the end of June. You need to write the big data exam. So we can either have, we will have two exams. So we're going to have one mid of June, one end of June, or have one exam end of June. So it will be up to you guys, because you understand that for some people, they don't want to, because next week we're starting with AI. So you don't want to leave a month of not going through big data and then you write an exam. If you guys think that it's good to have two exam, one in a mid June and one end of June, that would be fine. So there will be two groups: those who feel like they want to write it mid of June, and those who think they want to write it end of June. But before the end of the month of June, we need to write the exam. So maybe I'm gonna write a poll on the group just to see if we need to write two exams, mid of June and end of June, or end of June for everybody. So we're gonna see that. Yeah. Any other question regarding the exam?
Still no study materials besides the videos?
It is on the cloud. When you look on the WhatsApp message in the group description, there is a link which sends us to our private cloud where I'm going to be loading any file that can help you. But so far, I've loaded the slide.
On the mega link?
Yes.
Okay, I'll check it out. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so any other question? Any other question? By the way, can you guys see my my screen? Like, what do you see on the screen? Which slide do you see?
state storage method.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so any other question regarding maybe the exam? Okay. All right, so we spot Flink. So Flink is just a framework. Flink is just a framework that we use for what you call that? We use for data processing. So how many type of streaming? Remember, how many type of data streaming? How can data be streamed? Okay, there's only two type of data streaming. What are the type of data streaming? What are the two types?
It's bounded and unbounded.
Not really. Anybody else? Anybody else can tell us? So we have, how is it called when the data are being streamed in real time? That's the first type. The other one is when the data are being streamed based on a certain schedule. So what are the names of the type? I've told you exactly what they do. So yeah, I've told you exactly, guys. So what are the two types? There's one way data being streamed in real time, and there's one that data are being streamed based on a certain schedule. That can be historical data or things like that. So can anyone tell us what are the names of those two types of streaming? Anyone? This is very easy. This is easy.
Bounded
This
and
is
unbounded.
Sorry?
Bounded and unbounded.
No. No. Anyone else want to try? Anyone else want to try? Anyone else want to try? Anyone else? Guys, that is easy. We have two types of processing the data. There is one that processes that says
Hello?
Okay, what's going on here? Can you guys hear me? Can anybody confirm if you guys can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Yes.
I don't know
Yes,
what
I can.
happened. The whole team software was like frozen. I couldn't even click on it or anything like that. Yeah, so see. Yeah, I was asking for the two types of processing. We only have we only have two types of processing. There's the first one which depend on which has real data, like data being transferred, being streamed in real time. And then you have the second type, which is data being transferred based on a certain schedule. So those are the two types. So can anybody tell us what are the name of those two types?
Data stream and data set.
Sorry?
Data stream and data set.
No. Anybody else want to give it a try?
Stateless and stateful processor.
Sorry? Guys, so there's no one who can give us the right answer. Yes, Mamsundo, we
I was
trust you.
asking if. Oh, you heard me.
What I'm saying? I'm saying we trust you that's gonna give us the right answer.
No. I was just Isn't it stateless and stateful stream processing?
Yeah, we have stream processing and batch processing. That's all. So the batch processing is when the data are being streamed in what you call that in based on the schedule, and then we have stream processing when the data are being processed in real time. So we have that as your way of processing data. Okay. So guys, there's something that you need to note. So we have okay, let me just share this part of the screen. All right, so you need to note, okay, so this training in the cloud track is gonna end in October. So what that means that by the time we get to October, we will be done with what is it? With big data, AI, cloud computing, and as well with the competition, all the material on the competition, right? And during this time, you guys will have an opportunity. You guys will have an opportunity to get at least 6 certifications. So this is a big opportunity for everyone. About 6 certifications, which you're not paying for. So you're gonna get access for free. But for anybody who's external, who's not part of this class or anything, they want to get this certification, they will have to pay for it, right? But you guys are going to get it without paying for it. So you can have about 3 HCIA qualifications and 3 HCIP qualifications. So whatever qualification you pass, whatever exam you pass, you get certified for it. And remember, each exam that you get certified for, you earn 1,000 ranks incentive on that. So you basically have a chance to make yourself 6 certification, like to be certified 6 times and still get paid about 6,000 ranks. All right. So yeah. And what else I wanted to say? Yeah, that's it. So from next week, okay, so from next week, Tuesday, we'll conclude with big data. And on Wednesday, we're going to start with AI. And remember the exam mid-June and end of June. But we're going to see whatever you guys say, if you just want to have one day for the exam end of the month of June, or have an opportunity to just write the exam mid-June. And then the other group will write end of June. Okay.
What's the pass mark for the exam, sir?
Most of the exams, unless this change, okay, most of the exams are out of 1,000 points, but the pass mark is 60%. So 600 out of 1,000. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's 60. Yeah, some of the exams you need 80%.
Sir, can I ask, does the exam have also have 3 attempts, or it's only 1 attempt?
Remember, this exam you're doing it with a voucher, so it's 1 attempt. This is not the basic code; it's the full code. Usually, we have the 3 attempts for the what we call the 4IR, for Industrial Revolution. The course; those are the short courses that we do usually for 3 days only, and those are just basic course, to introduce these courses. So those are the ones that we have 3 attempts, because the passing mark for those ones are, if I'm not mistaken, about 80%. There's even others that you need 90% to pass. Those are the basics. But for this one, you get 1 voucher. That means it's 1 attempt.
And besides the tests at the end of each chapter in the video, sir, is there sort of like a practice exam that we can do?
Let me see. There is not really practice exam. Okay, so the only way you can get a practice exam, I will try and get that. It just it will be either files like PDF files with questions, a type of exam question, things like that that
Yes,
you can
sir.
use for yourself. Yes, you have things like that, or others can be videos. Okay, but so far I have AI videos. I'll try to get for big data.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah,
That would
because
be a great
yeah,
help.
but I'm sure you can also find them on YouTube if you just research like big data, like HCIA, Huawei HCIA, big data exam. Excuse me. If you research that, but you need to write version 3.5, so it needs to be this exam, because there is some people were writing the exam and then they recorded the screen, so which shows the question, and and then they just make the video, maybe a 2-minute video or something like that, so it moves faster. So you can also look at that. There's a lot of YouTube videos on that, and that actually will help because you will see how the question are being asked and how they are being answered. Because every exam is multiple choice, but sometimes the answers look similar, so you need to have a good understanding. Okay. All right. All right. So Flink, we've learned that Flink Flink is just a framework which is used for data streaming. So it's also created by the same company, Apache, right? So it's designed for high performance. We have so it's basically designed for high performance, scalable, and fault tolerant data processing. It's used mostly in real-time processing, but can also support batch processing. That's what I said. We have 2 types of processing. It's either real-time stream processing or batch processing. Okay, so the Flink can be used for real-time processing mainly, but can also support batch processing. Okay, so when we talk about what is the stream processing, we understand that stream processing is when we have real-time data processing, right? So this can help us in certain cases such as fraud detection and all those type of scenarios to get sensor data, data from the sensor, you want to get them in real time. You have things like clicks, numbers of clicks on a certain app to see how often people are using the app. So very important to do that. So in terms of batch processing, what is batch processing? So batch processing is when we process data in a large fixed batches. So we have a certain group of data that we will process at the time, and usually it is scheduled, right? So at a scheduled interval. Okay, so we need to note that the 2 process, the stream processing is unbounded. We have unbounded data. That means we have no predefined start and end. But with batch processing, the batch processing, we have bounded data. That means we have a fixed input size, right? When we want the size of the data we want to use, and we have all those parameters. Okay, so And then we spoke about the concept of state management. So state management, which means that in the stream processing, the application will save information about every step of the streaming. So we can easily get information about what's happening. If there's an error, we can catch up the error earlier and deal with that. Okay. And then we mentioned the concept of data stream. Data stream. What is data stream? Data stream is just the processing of moving the data. How does that work? Remember, we move from the data source, whatever source it can be. It can be a database or an application like Kafka or whatever data we get, maybe a sensor data, and then we have the transformation process. And from the transformation, we take it to data sync. So what is a data sync? It's the destination of those data. Where are those data going? That would be the data sync. Okay. So those are the components of the Flink. So we have a data source, transformation, and data sync. All right. So another concept as well we spoke about processing time and event time. So what's the difference? Processing time will be the time when Flink process the event. So at what time it was on the machine. That's that. But the event time is the time that was saved or recorded by that event. So sometimes it can be the same time. Sometimes due to network, it can be a different time. We mentioned the example of sending a WhatsApp message when there's a problem of network, your message arrived late. You understand? So this is why the program Flink will have to put a watermark that will remember the timestamp at which an event happened, so it can classify them in a proper order. Okay. So we also mentioned the concept of windows. Windows can be limitation of when a certain event needs to happen. I gave you the example of an OTP code that you get when you try to register somewhere. They give you a window of maybe 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, the registration is not going to work anymore. So those are examples of windows. So in the windows, we have tumbling windows, we have sliding windows, and then we have what's the third one? Anybody remember? Anyone remember? Tumbling window, which means that we have a fixed size of the window, but it does not overlap. But with sliding window, we have a fixed size, but it overlaps. And then what's the other one?
Global window. There's no end time.
Yes, we can have a global window where you have no end time, or we can also say a session window where as long as the session is on, the event can happen, right? And then you can create a restriction. If you log out of the session, then the event stops. Okay. So yeah, that's it. So in terms of the state method, we had many state methods. So we have, for example, the state backend. So we spoke about the checkpoint. So in this state backend, we will save the information about the checkpoint. So the storage methods, we will have the state that will be registered in the task manager, and the checkpoint will get information about the external file storage system, such as HDFS and other things. Okay. Okay, another state storage method is the ROX DB state backend. Okay, so and then we have its constructor. The storage method will be the KV database on the task manager. The checkpoint will also be external file storage system. The capacity can go up to 2 gigabytes. Okay. All right. So as a summary of Flink, so these course explain the architecture and technical principle of Flink and the running process of Flink program. The focus is on difference between So okay, let's move on. All right, so the next one that we're going to start today will be uh, Flume, Flume massive log aggregation. So what is um, what is Flume? So Flume is what we're going to do today. Okay, so Flume will basically, so Flume is also an open source, which means it's free. It's distributed, reliable, and highly available massive log aggregation system. So this is just for your log. So when we talk about log, we're talking about files that keep information about the processes happening. So your log can be a file somewhere in your system that is recorded. Some logs can be, maybe you can have an error log. An error log is a file that will save all the errors. Or you have a log that can record all the processes happening in your system. So in big data, Flume is it's just an available service, right, for collecting and moving large amounts of logs and event data from various sources to a store like HDFS, okay, or HBase database or other databases. So basically, what it does is it moves all those information, whatever information that are being stored, errors, and every other information. So instead of just keeping it in one file and that file is growing with so many lines, what it does is take those information and transfer them into a database so that the database can remember what has happened at each level. So that can help as we move with any process of data. Okay, so it's basically uh, a method. It's basically a service that supports custom transmitters for collecting data. So it will process data and write data to a data receiver. Okay. So this chapter will help us to know what is Flume, understand what Flume can do, know the system architecture of Flume, and then we get key features of Flume and master Flume application. So this is a way uh, uh, that you can understand, the way you can prepare for any exam. When you look at the objective, when you look at the page that talks about the objective of the course, so this is how you can prepare it by seeing what is Flume. You find where's the definition of Flume, and then you understand what Flume does and everything. So this will help you to prepare properly than just trying to memorize things. Okay, so overview and architecture of Flume. As I've said, Flume is just a stream log collection tool. It roughly processes data and writes data to the data receivers. So I've mentioned how the data receiver can be a store like HDFS. Does anyone remember what HDFS stands for? Anybody remember what is HDFS?
It's Hadoop distributed file system.
Perfect. Yeah, that's HDFS. So it's Hadoop distributed file system. So that can be a receiver. It can be a store that can be called as a receiver. So Flume will collect the data from local files, real-time logs, like whatever happening, REST messages, script, Avro, and other data sources. So when you looking at a system, and then you have a system that you've created, and then there's a user complaining about something that happened yesterday at 12 o'clock. It's very difficult for you to track what was the issue. It's very difficult to know what happened. But If you have a log, that means you have a mechanism to remember what happened or to record every error. So let's say, for example, one of the users was using something and then there was an error on a certain uh, form. So the system needs to be able to record that error. So what Flume does, it's going to take that error and transfer it into a database, transfer it into any store like the HDFS or HBase. HBase, remember we've spoken about it. HBase is also one of the databases. Okay. That will help you deal with the issue later, because remember, we're talking about big data. So we are talking about high volume of data. So there's a high volume data stream. So this amount of data will require that the log really work well. So we can't do it in one file. We have to create a database for it. We have to save those information in the database. Okay, because trying to imagine a country like South Africa with more than 50 million people, I am sure we have over 15 or maybe 20 million people who have a phone. Now imagine if there is one system that is running the whole country. Let's say we have picture something like an app that records every information about people, an app that will, okay, I'll give you an example. For example, in China, you have an app called WeChat. WeChat helps you buy things online. It helps you chat, just like WhatsApp. It helps you, it does a lot of things. So now you have about 2 billion Chinese. Maybe 1 billion of them are using WeChat. Now imagine with that amount of data being exchanged every time. You can save all the errors and all the histories of what the app of the users in one file. It's going to be very difficult. So that's when you will need tools like Flume that will take all those data and put them in a certain database and classify them properly so that you can easily deal with data. Okay, so that will help that when you using Flume will use what we call certain fault tolerance. So the fault tolerance will be applied when we use certain channels to ensure that data is not lost during transfer. Okay, and another advantage with Flume is that it uses multiple sources. So you have multiple sources of data which are recorded. Okay, so, and it's very easy to integrate. So it works well with things like Hadoop, Kafka, and other big data tools. Okay. So that is Flume. So what can Flume do? It collects information from a fixed directory to a destination. So the destination can be Hadoop, HBase, or Kafka. So it collects log information to the destination in real time. It supports cascading, so basically connecting multiple Flumes and data. Okay, so it supports data collection tasks based on users. So that's what I said. It's very easy to integrate, and it's really flexible because it supports multiple sources. Okay. So this is a Flume agent architecture. So Flume can directly collect data with an agent, which is mainly for data collection in a cluster. So we have a log. So we have a source of data. Okay, so this is the agent. So what the agent does, it's going to identify the source, the channel, and the sink. So take the log and transfer them directly to the destination directory, which in this case can be HDFS. Okay, So this source, what will happen is that the source will ingest, I mean, it's going to ingest the data. So the source receives the data. So this data can be, example, log files. So files that comes with all the information, log files. I'm trying to see if I can connect to any of the systems here and see log files. Okay, let me just see the example of a log file. So you see how a log file can look. All right, this is perfect. I'm going to share this. All right, so guys, this is an example of a log file. So the log file can look like that. Can you see? So you have the date when something happened, and then information about whatever action happened. Can you see? So for example, at this time here, on the 22nd of March at 8:51, creating mail slot for RSVP. You see?
Sorry, sir,
Can you
but
see?
you've
So,
stopped presenting.
sorry?
You've stopped presenting. You can't see your screen.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was presenting it. Thank you. Yes, that's not allowing me to present. All right, guys. Sorry, I don't know what really happened. It stopped me from presenting. Let me just fix it laughing, and then we can pick it up from next week. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so this is an example of how a log file can look like. So you can see all these things here in this application at this time. You understand? So look at how close the time are. So each second or each time there is something happening on the app. Now imagine if you have an app and people are using it. So each second there's someone doing something on the app. So all these information. So if there is an error, will you be able to find where was the error? You see, so this becomes an issue. So now these are log files. You understand? So what will the Flume agent do? The Flume agent will take the log files and take these information, all these information, and put them in a database such as the HDFA, so that they can easily, those information can easily be processed depending on what the system needs to do. Okay, so we have the source here. So this agent here, the source will basically ingest the files, so which are the log files. All right, the source will ingest the log file, which can come from either a certain source or from Kafka, from log files, and then the channel will temporarily store the data. Okay, and then we have the sink, which will write the data to the destination. So the sink will write the data to the destination, which is the HDFA. Can be HDFA or HBase or any other thing. So you need to understand that the agent will just process and run the Flume process. So basically, it's going to contain the source, it's going to contain the channel, and it's going to contain the sink. Okay. So one data can be just the line of data. That means a log line, something in the line of the log, a message or something like that. That's what data is being processed in Flume. Yeah. Okay. So and then we have multi-agent architecture. That means we have multiple agents processing different line of logs at the same time. Okay. All right, guys. I think that will be all for today. We can okay, we can just take a screenshot and yeah, and call it a day, call it a week. I'll see you on Tuesday for the last lesson of big data, and then we're gonna start with AI. AI is gonna be very, very interesting. I'm sure you guys are going to like it. All right. Okay.